Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about my week number 5 running back rankings for fantasy football in 2021. Inside today's video, I'm going to be going in depth into my top 32 ranked running backs of the week, as well as explaining why I have them ranked at each and every single spot inside of my week number 5 running back rankings. But before we get into things, I would like to ask, if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, to please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure you do hit that like button down below to help boost this video up the algorithm so that more beautiful people like yourself can see today's video. I'd also like to ask, if you guys are on Twitter and would like to follow me, to please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. The link to my Twitter is also down below in the description. So without further ado, let's get into my week number 5 running back rankings. And they are headlined by my number 1 running back, Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Quick disclaimer: any running backs that played on Thursday Night Football last night, if you guys are watching this on Friday, they are not included in this video. I'm only including players from Sunday and Monday's game because they have already played if they played on Thursday, and I don't really see a need to kind of reiterate why they're ranked where they are, because they already played in their game. So Derrick Henry is my number 1 ranked running back on the week, and Derrick Henry is he just has this long, illustrious history of running a train on the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense this season has looked soft as baby shit. Derrick Henry has been running trains on defenses thus far this season. A.J. Brown will be back in this game. Julio Jones will be missing this game, and it doesn't really matter if Julio and A.J. Brown are in the game. Derrick Henry is still going to be the main focal point, the key piece of the Tennessee Titans in what should be an onslaught on the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Derrick Henry this season is also getting a lot more targets when compared to years past, so maybe he has an even better game than he has ever had up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I expect this to be one of his bigger weeks on the season, and I expect him to decimate the Jacksonville Jaguars. Derrick Henry is my number 1 ranked running back on the week. He is ultra safe, but he also has the upside to be the number 1 guy. At number 2, we have Christian McCaffrey, running back of the Carolina Panthers, going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, right now, it does not appear to be 100% that Christian McCaffrey is going to play or that he's not going to play. Now, right now, he is listed as doubtful, but to me, maybe that's just the coaching saying, you know what, maybe we won't let Philadelphia prepare even further for Christian McCaffrey. Maybe now they're going to assume Christian McCaffrey is out, and maybe we throw him in. Now, is it 100% likely that he's going to play? Definitely not. My assumption right now is that maybe he won't play, but I wanted to include him in the rankings because I felt as though if he does play, I want to make sure that you guys know with my 100% confidence that you should roll him out there. And if Derrick Henry wasn't playing up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he would be my number 1 ranked running back on the week. We saw it last year when Christian McCaffrey went down, Mike Davis comes in for him, but once Christian McCaffrey returns, they don't just slowly ease him in. They don't just put the tip in just a little bit. No, they go full force, full shaft on in there. Christian McCaffrey would be seeing the workload that he was seeing earlier on in the season before he got hurt. So expect Christian McCaffrey, if he does play, to be playing 100% of what his normal output would be, and he would have a huge game this week up against the Eagles. Now, if he does not end up playing, Chuba Hubbard is not in my rankings. I would not rank him inside of the top 12, but he would be somewhere from like the running back 15 to 24 range. If you guys want more kind of clarity on that, by the time we get to Sunday, I will have a much better idea on that, and I will be able to discuss with you guys in the comment section where I believe Chuba Hubbard will finish on the week if Christian McCaffrey doesn't play. But if McCaffrey does play, then you could just throw Hubbard directly out the window. At number 3, we have Dalvin Cook, running back of the Minnesota Vikings, going up against the Detroit Lions. Now, I did not include Alexander Mattison in these rankings as well. My assumption is I'm a lot more confident that Dalvin Cook plays this week when compared to Christian McCaffrey. If Dalvin Cook does suit up, he is a top 5 running back in fantasy football. This matchup up against the Detroit Lions is a wet dream. They're going to give Dalvin Cook the majority of touches like he is always given. Alexander Mattison will be an afterthought if Dalvin Cook plays in the game. If Mattison is the main guy, though, and Dalvin Cook doesn't play, he would get a much higher ranking when compared to Chuba Hubbard, because Alexander Mattison is the clear workhorse back when Dalvin Cook goes down, whereas for the Carolina Panthers, they do want to use Royce Freeman at least a little bit to where that does kind of detract on Chuba Hubbard's value. value, as well as the fact that Sam Darnold is looking like fucking Lamar Jackson out there running in a million touchdowns. So I like Dalvin Cook a lot this week if he plays. If he does not play, Alexander Mattison could potentially be a top 10, if not a top 5 running back up against a bad Detroit Lions defense. At number 4, we have Mr. Ron Jones, running back of the Green Bay Packers, going up against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. Last week, we saw James Robinson run an absolute train on that Cincinnati Bengals defense, and Aaron Jones is a much better player when compared to James Robinson. This could be a very high-scoring game. If the Green Bay Packers defense plays like shit, which is entirely possible, Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers could be going toe-to-toe up against each other, trying to put up a big point total on both sides, which could lead to Aaron Jones having a humongous game. And if this is a blowout, maybe the Packers just blow the back out of the Cincinnati Bengals, then they're just going to hand the ball to Aaron Jones a bunch at the end of the game. Either way, Aaron Jones does have the potential, regardless of how the game goes, regardless of how you want to paint the picture of the game, Aaron Jones has a good shot to be a top 5 running back up against a not-so-hot Bengals defense. At number 5, we have Ezekiel Elliott, running back of the Dallas Cowboys, going up against the New York Football Giants. While the Dallas Cowboys offense last year was this high-flying, pass-heavy attack from Dak Prescott because the defense was so dog shit that they would just have to throw the ball a lot late on in the game, that's not how things are going this season. The defense for the Dallas Cowboys looks like one of the better defenses in the league. The defense looks amazing, and when that is the case, then Dak's not having to throw the ball 40, 50 times every single game, and that could lead to a more run-heavy attack from the Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott. I like him a lot this week up against the New York Football Giants. At number 6, we have Alvin Kamara, running back of the New Orleans Saints, going up against the Washington Football Team at Washington. Now, the issue with Alvin Kamara this season is not that he's bad or that he fell off the edge of the earth, but it's that Sean Payton has given this guy a completely different role than to what he had in college and what he had at the NFL level thus far in his career. Alvin Kamara was always a running back that, sure, you hand him the ball, he can do special things, but he's not going to be seeing a super high amount of rushes week in and week out. But this season, to mitigate the disaster that could occur if Jameis Winston is just throwing the ball 7 million times a game, they're trying to pound the rock with Alvin Kamara. And while you might think, hey, that would be very helpful for fantasy football, it's great. He is still getting touches, but what was really helpful for Alvin Kamara's career thus far was the receiving volume he was seeing game in and game out. And without Michael Thomas in this offense for at least the next couple of weeks, you would be thinking, and most, including myself, thought that, hey, Alvin Kamara was going to be a target fucking machine in this offense, but that has not been how things are going thus far. Again, I still like Alvin Kamara. He's still a great running back. He could have an excellent game up against a not-so-hot Washington Football Team defense, but the targets not going his way is definitely hurting him, at least in my opinion. At number 7, we have Austin Eckler, running back of the LA Chargers, going up against the Cleveland Browns. Austin Eckler has been exactly what I thought he was going to be thus far this season. Austin Eckler, the bald man himself, Mr. Clean, has been playing like the running back I wanted him to be last year. He's it this year. Justin Herbert, the pervert, loves throwing the ball to him. This team clearly believes very heavily in Austin Eckler to be one of the key pieces, one of the focal points of this Chargers offense. Going up against the Cleveland Browns is far from an easy matchup, I understand, but I do believe that the receiving floor from Austin Eckler is good enough to keep him as a top 10 back on the week. He is my running back number 7. At number 8, we have Saquon Barkley, running back of the New York Football Giants, going up against the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World. Now that Saquon Barkley is not getting that time management, that snap management, that load management that was kind of plaguing him the first 2 weeks of the season, he's just a must-start running back every single week. Saquon Barkley is one of the best running backs in the NFL. I understand that the Giants offense is basically just a fucking roller coaster. They played really well last week up against the New Orleans Saints. I wouldn't be surprised if they sucked complete and utter donkey dong this week and played terrible. But at the end of the day, Saquon Barkley is still so involved in this offense that even if the team is losing, he is going to be seeing a bunch of carries and a bunch of receptions in this game. I like him a ton up against the Dallas Cowboys. At number 9, we have Naji Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Denver Broncos. Now, any player on the Steelers not named Naji Harris or Deontay Johnson, you can basically just throw into a dumpster, and that dumpster will probably light on fucking fire when those players enter into it, because Big Ben stinks. This guy he's off his fucking rocker. He's not the same guy that he was last year. And last year, you kind of saw that, oh man, things are going down for Big Ben. But then in the offseason, Big Ben's getting slim. He's on the Big Ben diet, the BR7, the Ben Roethlisberger 7 diet, kind of like how Tampa Bay Tom Brady, he's got the TB12 diet. It was very similar to that. but he still stinks. Doesn't matter if he's more healthy. Doesn't matter if he's a little bit more lean. It doesn't matter. The guy fucking stinks. And for some reason, he can only throw the ball correctly to Naji Harris or to Deontay Johnson. He's still throwing the ball to other guys. He'll throw it to Claypool. He will throw it to Juju. But when it goes to them, for some reason, it's like the connection is just off. There's like some input lag for Big Ben when he's throwing the ball to them. But for Naji Harris, for Deontay Johnson, they just get the ball perfectly. So Naji Harris is a must-start this week. Even going up against a tough Denver defense, he is just so involved on the team. A couple weeks ago, this motherfucker saw 19 total targets. He could do it any week because Big Ben just loves throwing the ball to him. I don't know what position they were in this game, but it's like 4th and 5, 4th and 3, and the game plan for Ben is just to dump it off to Naji Harris. It makes absolutely no sense, but it's great for fantasy football. Naji Harris, my running back number 9. Next up at number 10, closing in the top 10, we have Cordaro Patterson, running back of the Atlanta Falcons, going up against the Jumbo Jets in London. But before we break down Cordaro Patterson, I would like to ask, if you have ended up enjoying thus far, please make sure you do hit that subscribe button down below, and while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button as well. Cordaro Patterson, running back / wide receiver of the Atlanta Falcons. Calvin Ridley is not going to the game because of personal issues. I hope Calvin Ridley is okay. Please, this is something that I always try to hound on in these videos. If these guys are not playing for personal reasons, don't go on Twitter, don't go on Instagram and fucking hound this guy. Clearly, it's something very personal, something that he doesn't want getting out there. Hopefully, he is okay. I'm hoping Calvin Ridley is okay, but he's not playing in this game. Neither is Russell Gage. Who else are they going to throw the ball to besides Kyle fucking Pitts and Cordell Patterson? Cordell Patterson has been unreal this season, and a lot of people continue to rank him outside of the top 10. To be honest with you, I wanted to put him inside the top 5 because I really do believe that he may be the number 1 running back on the week. This guy just sees so much workload in this offense. This man has been in the NFL for almost 10 years. Almost 10 years, and his breakout season comes in 2021. Crazy, but they like to use him there. They like to use him a ton, and going up against the Jumbo Jets, that's a wet dream matchup. I love Cordell Patterson this week as my running back number 10. Now on to running backs 11 through 20. At number 11, we have 9-inch Nicholas Chubb going up against the LA Chargers in LA. Now, Josh Jacobs didn't look great last week up against the Chargers, but John Gruden loves giving him the ball, so he actually ran pretty good for a guy that I don't think is this uber amazing running back. Nick Chubb should have no struggle having a great game up against the LA Chargers. I hope that Kevin Stefanski understands that Baker's left labrum that's fucked up in his non-throwing shoulder is truly hampering him. It really is. It appears that after he went down up against the Houston Texans, he came back in. He wasn't the same guy as he was in week number 1 or earlier in that game in week number 2. So, hopefully Stefanski realizes that and tries to run the ball even more. Now, eventually, they're going to have to stop doing that, right? Because they're going up against the Chargers. Mr. Herbert, the pervert, he's going to be throwing some tugs in that game. This is not going to be no cakewalk. But even if it is a higher scoring game, Nick Chubb is still going to be very involved in the game plan, as Kevin Stefanski loves nothing more than running the football. So Nick Chubb is in for a solid week. At number 12, we have Deandre Swift, running back of the Detroit Lions, going up against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Deandre Swift has been just a fucking roller coaster this season, because there are going to be games where the Lions are getting spanked. That's going to be most games. They're getting bent over the table, fucking spanked, left cheek, right cheek, fucking alternating. Just a brutal spanking of the Detroit Lions. But DeAndre Swift is still involved on the team because Jared Goff just checks it down. Check down, check down, check down, check down, check down 5,000 times to DeAndre Swift. But there's also going to be games where Jared Goff grows a pair and fucking starts heaving it deep down the field. Says, fuck it, we're losing. I'm throwing it to Quintez Cephas. I'm throwing it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm throwing it to Khalif Raymond. I'm throwing it to TJ Hawkinson. And DeAndre Swift ends up being a bust on the week. But at the end of the day, he's still the number 1 running back on the Lions. Dan Campbell continues to want to use him, so you got to keep ranking him as a top 12 running back, even though he is very volatile. At number 13, we have James Robinson, running back of the Jacksonville Jaguars, going up against the Tennessee Titans. Now, while I talked about how Derrick Henry is probably going to absolutely decimate the asshole of the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, James Robinson could do the exact same thing up against the Tennessee Titans defense. The Tennessee Titans defense just lost to, you guessed it, Zach Wilson and the Jumbo Jets. The defense isn't all that good. James Robinson could have a good game. Now, the biggest question about this game doesn't have to do with any of the players on Jacksonville. It has to do with Urban Meyer. Is Urban Meyer going to be in this game? Is Urban Meyer going to be flustered? I mean, they broke the huddle in practice the other day, and they yelled grind because that woman was grinding on Urban Meyer. Absolutely hilarious, but how involved is Urban Meyer in this game? I don't know. Because it seemed like Urban Meyer unlocked the fucking keys to success. He finally, put the puzzle pieces together to get James Robinson involved in this offense. So I hope that his head is in the game so that James Robinson could see a healthy dosage of carries in this matchup. I love James Robinson against the Titans. The only thing that worries me is Urban Meyer. At number 14, we have JT, Jonathan Taylor, running back of the Indianapolis Colts, going up against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Jonathan Taylor was basically a dumpster fire in your lineup the first couple of weeks. Now, he wasn't bad per se, right? He wasn't completely fucking your lineup over, but he also wasn't doing what Jonathan Taylor did last year. In week number 4, up against my Miami Dolphins, he ran train. He went off. You want to know why? Because the Miami Dolphins run defense is putrid. It is terrible. The Baltimore Ravens run defense, much better. Now, if they commit to Jonathan Taylor, they commit to running the ball, how they did up against the Dolphins, then Jonathan Taylor could have a huge week. Because we know when Jonathan Taylor gets the ball, he can turn anything into a huge run. He's one of the more talented running backs in the NFL. This matchup up against Baltimore drops him down outside of the top 12. He doesn't mean he's a bad start. It's just that, I don't know. The Colts offense just looked so dick all year, except for last week. So I'm just not too sure that we should be 100% sold on this thing, really, the ship really turning around for the Colts, but I still do like Jonathan Taylor. At number 15, we have Antonio Gibson, running back of the Washington football team, going up against the New Orleans Saints. Now, Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissic, this is one of the most confusing situations in the National Football League. One week, Antonio Gibson is out there like Christian McCaffrey, getting all the fucking touches, getting all the receptions, getting all the rushes, getting all the targets, all of that. And then there's other weeks where J.D. McKissic is involved. J.D. McKissic vultures him on the goal line. So what's it going to be, Ron? What's it going to be, Riverboat Ron? Is it going to be a healthy dosage of Antonio Gibson getting a lot of rushes, getting a lot of receptions? Or is it going to be where J.D. McKissic just comes out of fucking nowhere, Randy Orton RKO style, and just vultures Antonio Gibson? Which will it be? I'm not sure. You got to rank them highly because this could be a very high-scoring back-and-forth affair between two solid offenses in the New Orleans Saints and the Washington football team. I just worry a little bit because the New Orleans Saints defense is also just fucking confusing because some weeks they look amazing, other weeks they look terrible. At number 16, we have Damien Williams, running back of the Chi-Town Bears, going up against the Las Vegas Raiders in Viva Las Vegas. Damien Williams is one of my favorite running back starts on the week. I understand that he's not David Montgomery, and he is far from David Montgomery. But with Bill Fire the Lasers being the guy calling the plays now, he took the reins from Mr. Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy, I honestly give this guy a lot of credit because if I was the head coach and things were going downhill, fuck it, I'm taking the ship down with me. I'm taking it down with me. I'm going to keep calling these plays, and if we lose and I get fired, it is what it is. That would be my coaching philosophy. Now, again, I'm not some NFL head coach, so would I really do that? I don't know. But Matt Nagy seems like he's actually a very good players coach. Like, it seems like all the players like him. It just seems like he's not the best at being the head coach in the game, but like outside of the game in the locker room, it seems like everyone likes him. Maybe he'll lose the locker room, but he won't yet because he changed to Bill Lazor calling the plays, and he kept Mr. Justin Fields as the starting quarterback, which helps out Damien Harris a ton. The Las Vegas Raiders got a train ran on him by Austin Eckler last week. Damien Williams is a very solid running back, people forget, so I like him this week. Running back number 16 and number 17, we have Uncle Lenny, Leonard Fournette, Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back, going up against the Miami Dolphins. I just spoke about how bad the Dolphins' run defense is. The Dolphins' pass defense, in my opinion, is one of the best in the NFL. The run defense is putrid. Leonard Fournette, if he is given the work, that's why he's 17. He could easily be a top 10 running back, but there's always the Bruce Arians effect that if Leonard Fournette fucking breathes incorrectly on the sideline, then Bruce Arians says, fuck you, and just throws you out of there. He takes you out of the game. It's Rojo time. Like Rojo scored last week. Why is Rojo in the game? I don't understand. I don't understand what the fuck Bruce Arians is doing. With that said, if Uncle Lenny is the main back, he could be a top 12 running back, but the Bruce Arians factor dumps him down to running back 17, but I expect him to have a big week. At number 18, we have Damien Harris, running back of the New England Patriots, going up against the Houston Texans in Houston. Now, a lot of people are really getting down on their knees, giving the Gawk 9000 special to Mac Jones this week, saying, hey, look, Nick, Mac Jones, he's going up against the Texans. You know the Texans just got absolutely eviscerated by Josh Allen last week, right, Nick? You saw what happened. It was 40-0. And I understand. But Bill Belichick's coaching philosophy is not to let Mac Jones go out there and fucking cook it up like Geno Smith last night. That's not what's going to happen. It's just not. Just not. Even if you want it to happen, that's not what's going to happen. It's the same thing that happened up against the Jumbo Jets. Now, maybe we're week 5, so maybe that Bill Belichick gives more credit to Mac Jones, right? And he wants to instill the confidence in Mac Jones, and he lets him throw the ball more. But I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to be looking to do these short plays, looking to just beat the Texans and run the rock out of the game. And James White isn't there. Damien Harris is the clear lead back. J.J. Taylor probably in the doghouse for fumbling up against the Bucs. It's Damien Harris season, and I expect him to have a huge week this week up against the Houston Texans. At number 19, we have Kareem Hunt, running back of the Cleveland Browns, going up against the LA Chargers in LA. Kareem Hunt, I talk about this every single week. This guy is the safety blanket for your team. He's just like wrapping a Trojan around your roster. This guy is going to be safe every week. He's likely to never really bust and be terrible, but he's also not very likely to have that huge game where he wins you your week. And that's okay, because he's a running back too. You throw him in every week and you're happy with him. It is what it is. Kareem Hunt, running back 19. At number 20, we have Chase Edmonds, who appears, based upon what I have seen, to be a game-time decision up against the 49ers. If he does not play up against the 49ers, then James Conner likely takes his spot at 20. Because James Conner has looked very good the last couple weeks. He's in the rankings this week. I'll talk about him a little bit later, but we'll talk about him a bit now. If Edmonds does not play, then you move Conner up, because then Conner's the clear head honcho, the clear number 1 running back there, which will never be the case with Chase Edmonds there. And with James Conner there, Chase Edmonds will never be the clear number 1 guy. But Chase Edmonds going up against the 49ers will be seeing a decent amount of receptions in this game. Should be a high-scoring back-and-forth affair between the short king Kyler Murray and Trey Lance in his first ever NFL start. So I like Chase Edmonds here, but again, monitor his health, because it appears to be a game-time decision. Next up, we move to running backs 21 through 30. So if you guys have ended up enjoying thus far, please make sure you do hit that subscribe button down below. At number 21, we have Clyde Edwards Hilaire, running back of the Kansas City Chiefs, going up against the Buffalo Bills. Now, I think a lot of people this week are going to sleep heavily. They're going to be in deep sleep. I'm talking about that REM sleep up against or about the Buffalo Bills. Like, I think people, since the Chiefs have just butt-fucked them every single time they played, that a lot of people, they're going to be like, oh, man, the Bills, like, they're not going to be able to win this game. I think the Bills could win. I think the Bills +3 is a really good bet. Will I take it, though? I don't know, because I find it very hard mentally to get myself to bet on or bet against the Chiefs, because you just know that at any second you could go take a piss, you go grab a beer out the fridge, you go grab some nachos, you go grab some popcorn, you go get a slice of pizza, wings, whatever. You got to go do something. You come back, I shit you not, 2 seconds later. 2 seconds later, and the Chiefs will have thrown a touchdown. The defense that's not even good gets a pick, and then Mahomes throws another touchdown, and then magically the Bills are out of the game. That's because that's just how good the Chiefs offense is. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire is a piece of this offense. He's not a focal point, in my opinion. The focal points are Tyreek Hill. The other focal point is Travis Kelce, but he's still involved on the team. This could be a high-scoring back-and-forth tit-for-tat affair between the Chiefs and the Bills, so I like Clyde Edwards-Hilaire in this matchup. At 22, we have Josh Jacobs, running back of the Las Vegas Raiders, going up against the Chi-Town Bears. The Bears defense has taken a dip, a dive, a duck, a dodge, like they're in fucking dodgeball. They have taken a dip straight down to not really being a bad defense, but not being the defense that they were the last couple of years, being one of the more feared defenses in the NFL. With that said, John Gruden has some affinity for just rushing the rock with Josh Jacobs. Doesn't matter if Jacobs is fully healthy. Doesn't matter if Jacobs looks like he did the last year. They're still going to just give the rock to him. He's not going to get a ton of receptions, but he's still a valuable enough running back to be ranked inside the top 24. At 23, we have Zach Moss, running back of the Buffalo Bills, going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, again, I do expect this to be a shootout, a back-and-forth affair between Zach Moss and the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. So if that is the case, then there's not going to be as much running in this game as there was last week when they're bending over the Houston Texans. They are still going to be giving the ball to Zach Moss. He could still score a touchdown, so he's running back 23. At 24, we have Mike Davis of the Atlanta Falcons going up against the Jumbo Jets. Now, with everyone out, you would seemingly think that Mike Davis will be even more involved. because I don't know who else they're going to give the ball to. So I think Mike Davis will have an all right game this week, running back 24 at 25. And plus the Jets defense just isn't good. At running back 25, we have Miles Sanders, running back of the Philadelphia Eagles, going up against the Carolina Panthers. Now, look, I'm not here to tell you that Miles Sanders is a bad running back because I actually think he's a relatively talented running back. But at the end of the day, doesn't matter how good you are if you're not given the ball. Doesn't matter how good you are if the Eagles don't want to run the ball. So they're giving the ball to Kenneth Gainwell a lot. And it is a tough scene. It really is, because all offseason, I really was against Miles Sanders. I was really talking about how I believed this was going to be a committee. But something about Miles Sanders being so good, I understand that's why people felt trapped into drafting him. Now, again, I don't think Miles Sanders is a bad running back. I think he's very talented. But until head coach Nick Sirianni wants to just go bullish with running the ball with Miles Sanders to actually give him the touches he deserves, then you just don't want to be starting Miles Sanders. He does have a decent amount of upside going up against the Panthers if he is given the ball, but will he be given the ball? That's the biggest question. At running back 26, we have Latavius Murray, running back of the Baltimore Ravens, going up against the Indianapolis Colts. I like Latavius Murray. It seems like Le'Veon Bell is not going to be involved this week. It seems like maybe Tyson Williams will play. So again, Latavius Murray, he is a good start, but it's risky because you never fucking know with the Ravens who it's going to be. It seems like you know it's Tyson Williams. Tyson Williams seems like the better running back out of him and Latavius Murray. But last week, Tyson Williams is healthy scratch. Now, the belief is that he is healthy scratch because they want to give Le'Veon Bell the ball. They want to give Devontae Freeman the ball and see what they have in those two backs. Makes sense, right? But why would you scratch Tyson Williams, who's a valuable asset to the offense? So who's going to be the lead back this week? I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. The best bet based upon last week is that Latavius Murray will be the guy. But will he be throughout the whole game? I'm not too sure. So I like him against the Colts defense, but I don't love him because I understand the risk that is inherently baked into just starting any of these Baltimore backs at this point, because it wouldn't surprise me if Williams dropped 25 points in this game. Next up at 27, we have Melvin Gordon, running back of the Denver Broncos, going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is just the case of a very tough matchup. It appears that Melvin Gordon is the running back out of him and Javonte Williams that you want to be starting weekly, but this is a bad matchup. It's likely that maybe Drew Lock plays. I mean, it appears that there is potential that Teddy Two Gloves does end up suiting up. If that is the case, I like the team as a whole better than the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I still don't love Melvin Gordon up against that Pittsburgh run defense. 28, we got J.D. McKisson-Titties, J.D. McKissick, running back of the Washington football team, going up against the Saints. Talked about this earlier with Antonio Gibson, so we're not really going to go ad nauseum into this situation, but it is very confusing. Really is, because it seems like Gibson should be seeing more targets, more rushes, all that, but some weeks he is, some weeks it's J.D. McKissick season. So how reliable can you be being 100% bullish on either of the backs? Not very much, because McKissick, if involved, could easily be a top 25 running back. Could easily be a top 12 running back if he's given the carries to get into the end zone. But there's also a chance that he is not involved at all, which has happened in this season. Running back 28-29. Definitely safer is James Conner. Don't think he has much upside necessarily, but James Conner, I like a decent amount of the Arizona Cardinals. Going up against the Niners, again, we talked about him a decent amount with Chase Edmonds. If Conner does end up being the lead back because Edmonds is out, then you just fucking skyrocket. Kapow! Throw up James Conner into the rankings, and then you play James Conner. If not, you're hoping for the touchdown, but he's been playing really well, so James Conner is an all-right start, running back 29. At 30, we got Trey Sermon, running back of the Niners, going up against the Cardinals. Seems like Sermon's the guy, but Mitchell could also be the guy. It's very similar to the Ravens, where either of these guys, I mean, this offense could completely shift with Trey Lance to being just this run-heavy, fucking plow the defense with the rushing the ball type of attack, which is entirely possible, and then maybe Sermon and Mitchell are startable. But right now, it seems like we have zero idea who's going to be the starter, right? I think it's going to be Sermon, but don't be surprised when Mitchell fucking trampolines his way into the end zone, or when Kyle Juszczyk runs into the end zone. Don't be surprised, because that's just how confusing it is with San Francisco. That's why it gets a little bit dicey back here in the lower running back rankings. Final running backs to discuss: 31, Jamal Williams, running back of the Lions, going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, all offseason, Dan Campbell's talking about that hot hand running back approach in Detroit with Deandre Swift and Jamal Williams. Whoever's the hot hand's going to be getting the ball. Swift has been the hot hand. If Williams gets the hot hand, then he could be immensely valuable. But I believe Swift has the hot hand. So he's sitting here at 31. Maybe he gets a goal line touch. Maybe he jams his way into the end zone. If not, though, probably going to be pretty disappointed. With Williams at 32, we have Samaj P Ryan, running back of the Bengals, going up against the Green Bay Packers. Samaj P Ryan. Now, that is a guy that I thought would have a lot more value this week than it appears he's going to, because Zach Taylor, head coach of the team, is talking about how there's going to be a committee between him and Evans, which stinks, because if P Ryan was given that workhorse role, then he could be very valuable. And there's also talk about Mixon potentially playing. So if Mixon plays, I really don't think he's going to play, though. Like, I'm much more confident that McCaffrey and Cook play compared to Mixon. If Mixon plays, you got to throw him up the rankings. But my best bet right now, gun to the head, is that he misses. P Ryan gets the touches, but Chris Evans is still involved enough to kind of knock P Ryan down to being a sit. So I did talk about him as a start in my running back video. I would definitely sit him now, though, in the running back video. The more I've thought about it, the more that has came out on the situations. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying, please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below if you did end up enjoying. And whether you are new to the channel or not, make sure you hit that like button down below. I would appreciate it a ton. Thank you guys all for coming out yesterday in the live stream on Thursday. And baby, it is Robert Woods season, just as I projected. I love you guys all. Have a great rest of your guys' day, as always.